Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins. The supposed release date for Red Dead Redemption 2 has quotation marked leaked a number of times in the past already, ranging everywhere from late September to mid-October. However, there might be reason to believe that the actual release date might have leaked this time. Earlier this week, Polish retailer Media Market listed Red Dead Redemption 2 for sale on October 3rd. So, in that range. When asked about the date by Polish news site CD Action, a Media Market representative wrote, "I would like to inform you that our marketing department was informed by distributor of the game that its airing date is 3rd of October 2017, implying that the date was set by Take-Two." Once that news broke, however, Media Market PR started sending out more statements denying any release dates and saying the first spokesman was misinformed. The date is now back to a December 31st placeholder. So, for the record, October 3rd is a Tuesday, which does make it more likely than other recent placeholder dates, but again, we will have to wait for official word from Rockstar, but those dates are looking more and more likely. So at the very least, we got our range and possibly a specific day. And just about the most modern gaming move ever, DICE has announced a brand new feature, which will let you play paid DLC maps in Battlefield 1 without buying them first, as long as you partied with a friend who did. The new program, called Premium Friends, was announced today in a blog post where Battlefield 1 producer Andreas Skoglund wrote, "One specific area of feedback that we've had our eyes on for a while, the potential friction when playing with friends where some own a Battlefield 1 Premium Pass and some don't. When using the Premium Friends feature, non-paying users won't be able to gain XP from premium maps, and you won't be able to use any of the new weapons included in the expansion." You know another easy way to fix this, friction, DICE? Maybe don't split your player base by charging for new maps. But sure, let's have an overly complicated solution for something as simple as playing a game with friends. Nothing else has been done before that solved that. Now, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild's release was met with obsession by fans and nearly universal praise by critics, but it certainly had its detractors as well. In addition to some of the early complaints about the game's frame rate issues, there have also been criticisms about the game's apparent downgrade in graphics since the admittedly stunningly gorgeous E3 2014 trailer. And this week, Nintendo responded to some of those complaints for the first time in a bonus behind-the-scenes video. Art director Satoru Takizawa said, "We wanted to deliver beautiful and realistic visuals, but what we fixated on most was designing the visuals so that they matched the features of the game and facilitated comfortable play for the user. So when it came down to deciding whether to make the game prettier or improve response during play, we always chose to prioritize the features of the game and improved response. I hope the players will experience the world for themselves rather than simply watching videos of the game." I'm sure you do. Not sure how well that excuse will go over, considering the game's many frame rate complaints, but hey, at least they tried. At South Park, the Fractured Butthole has had a little bit of a problem sticking to a release date, to say the least. The game was supposed to come out in January, then moved to spring. Now it's been delayed until sometime before spring, so still aiming for that, but 2018, which obviously doesn't inspire much confidence about when the game will be finished. And now, gamers who pre-ordered the Fractured Butthole on PSN are actually getting refunds for their order. Users on NeoGAF started reporting the issue this morning. However, before anyone freaks out, this is a pretty typical thing that PSN does whenever a release date for a game changes. Sony did the same thing last year when Gran Turismo Sport's release date got pushed back, so it doesn't spell anything terribad for the game just yet. Plus, pre-orders still gotta keep their free copy of Stick of Truth, so that's nice. Now, if you thought Bungie was stopping at a simple tweet with Destiny 2's logo this week, think again. The company also tweeted a teaser yesterday for an upcoming trailer for the game set to release tomorrow morning. The Last Call teaser features the Nathan Fillion-voiced Cade 6 talking about his heroic exploits against the Cabal and wraps up with a shot of the last city under siege with Guardians rushing off to fight unknown attackers. The teaser has a significantly different tone to most other materials we've seen associated with the game, which is fairly promising after the complaints about Destiny's story, or lack thereof, especially in the early days. Considering this tease was over a minute long, fans are fairly hopeful that the reveal we actually get tomorrow will be a significant one. We will, of course, keep you posted as details roll in, but while you wait, you can enjoy the Age of Triumph content that launched this week as the game's victory lap before Destiny 2 hits later this fall. Ubisoft has announced some pretty big changes to its Watch Dogs 2 DLC. Maybe you guys can talk to the Battlefield 1 guys and you can compare notes. Kotaku reports that some of the paid content that was planned for the game's season pass has now been moved to a free update. Specifically, that means that Showdown, the team-based PvP mode for the No Compromise expansion, will now be released free to all users. But the extra story missions will still be part of the paid expansion, as well as some extra costumes and vehicles. This move feels a lot like Ubisoft is admitting that Watch Dogs 2 wasn't popular enough to support a paid multiplayer expansion, because that would split the player base, and then everyone would have trouble getting in games. The game's live producer, Chris Young, said they were responding to community feedback we've received since we announced the original plans. The first installment of the Telltale Games version of Guardians of the Galaxy is dropping very soon. The company confirmed that the game's first episode, called Tangled Up in Blue, will be released on April 18th for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, iOS, and Android devices for $4.99. In addition to the digital release, players can find the Season Pass disc at retailers in North America beginning on May 2nd and elsewhere around the world on May 5th. We don't know a whole lot about the game yet, but Telltale has released art of the Guardians squaring off against Thanos, so that would definitely be starting things off with a bang. The company will release a trailer this Thursday, which that's tomorrow for those of you keeping track, at 9 a.m. Pacific, so you can see the whole squad in action. It's like everyone's organizing all their teasers to come at the same time. So recently, the packaging for the upcoming Switch version of LEGO City Undercover was found in the wild. People lost their shit about a couple of things. The fact that players might need up to 13 gigs of storage just for the game's download, and that an internet connection was required to play the game. Well, Warner Brothers has said, don't worry, that packaging was incorrect. In a statement to IGN, the company said that players will be getting the complete game and do not need to download additional content to enjoy the full experience, which is kind of a relief. Now you don't have to take up half of your Switch's system memory to play one game. Now, we don't know much about Sony's upcoming Venom solo movie, but one thing is for sure, it is not connected to the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe, according to the director. That's because the movie rights to Venom, along with his arch-rival Spider-Man, are owned by Sony, not Marvel Studios, despite the fact that Sony and Marvel have been kind of sharing Spider-Man recently. In an interview with Fandango, director John Watts was asked if the Venom solo film is tied in any way to Spider-Man Homecoming, to which he replied, "It's not. It's not connected to the Marvel world." Watts also said he doesn't know anything about Spider-Man Homecoming, which is tied to the MCU. We're gonna need charts to track all this stuff soon. He said, "I'm only focused on my movie right now." Venom starts filming this fall, but no word yet if Spidey will make an appearance. I mean, he kind of has to, right? So if it's not Tom Holland, are they gonna have like their own like new Spider-Man like off in this corner? That would be interesting. We'll see. Now, we're starting to get reviews in on the Ghost in the Shell live-action movie starring Scarlett Johansson, and, well, actually they're basically lukewarm good, which for a live-action anime adaptation is pretty surprising. The movie has a 67% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 62 score on Metacritic. Now, if you are not familiar, the movie is a remake of a 1995 anime, and the new version stars Scarlett Johansson as a cyber-enhanced super soldier. Variety said the movie both honors and streamlines its source, but the Daily Mirror didn't like it all that much, saying a hardworking Scarlett Johansson stands at the center of the spectacular visuals, but even the Avengers star can't bring the soulless storytelling to boil. So, pick your pick. Great, terrible. We'll see. Ghost in the Shell actually hits theaters on March 31st, so you can go see it, or not, as you choose. Your internet history, well, this is the bad news. This is where we end on a low note. Your internet history is about to be up for sale. Sorry, if you live in the US, that is. Last week, the Senate voted to get rid of FCC privacy regulations in a move that will basically allow internet providers to sell your personal data without asking. And recently, the US House, they approved it too. Alright, so what kind of data could your ISP sell? Well, everything from shopping habits, browsing history, app usage history, and your location. Now, previously, FCC rules approved just last year would have required ISPs to get your permission first. As The Verge put it, while reversing the FCC's privacy rules will technically just maintain the status quo, internet providers have actually been able to sell your web browsing data forever. It's just not a thing we think about all that much. They were about to lose permission to keep doing it unless they got explicit consent or anonymized the information. The bill now goes to President Trump, who will most likely sign it. So there you go. Your information's up for sale. Be very careful about your new porn habits. Or old porn habits. Just porn habits in general. That's all the news we have for you guys today. Let us know what you think of all the stories in the comments down below. Make sure you like this video, and to make sure you get news from every corner of the internet every day, subscribe to the Now. Now, when using the Premium Friends feature, non-paying users won't be able to gain XP from Premium... Man, I'm like all out of breath today. I think I'm still like hooed up from getting the NES Classic. I'm hooed up, guys.